Alright guys, today we are talking about another TikTok trend. We talk about social media trends a lot, and this one is the 90-50-30 diet. And it's actually kind of shocking, Megan, because you told me about this diet. I feel like I'm the one who's more on social media stuff. Like, you're better at being like, I'm not inundating myself with that kind of thing, but you introduced it to me.
I don't know where it came from, honestly. I don't know how it got into my repertoire, or in my feed. I don't know where I saw it or if someone maybe asked me about it, but this has been maybe 2 months ago, and I feel like it's still kind of making its rounds, so maybe it's becoming a thing.
All right, well, we're talking about it today because if you haven't heard our podcast before, I'm Kait, I'm a registered dietitian.
I'm Megan, also a registered dietitian.
And Megan's the founder, and I'm a dietitian of Nutrition Awareness, a private practice here in Orlando. And we talk to people about food all day long. I've had 6 conversations about food today, and this is number 7. And I'm ready to do it because we got a lot of interesting things to talk about here. Yeah. And the cool thing about this diet that we're talking about, or we'll just call it a diet. She calls it a method. So I'm going to respect her terminology.
Okay,
it's a method.
All right.
Because it is by a dietitian, which I think is cool. And usually we're like ripping things apart.
We're finally getting some traction out there in the world.
Yeah, and I love it. I think she is called Dietitian with Twins on TikTok. Okay. That's her username. Her name's Courtney. I didn't see a last name under there. But usually when we talk about a social media trend, the claws come out and we get a little mean. I'm not feeling mean today.
Oh, you're feeling nice?
Well, because she deserves. I don't hate her trend.
Deserves to be nice. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into it. So what is this? I don't like that it's not 90-50-30. So it doesn't make sense to my brain. But like 90-30-50. Okay, 90-30-50. So
there must be a method to her madness.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a reason.
So 90 grams of protein. So let's tackle that part of it first.
Well, let's tell everybody what it all stands for. So 90 grams of protein. 30 grams of fiber, and then 50 grams of fat.
Per day. That's your goal.
Per day.
Yep.
Yes, the whole day, not per meal, okay.
Yeah.
So the protein piece, 90 grams, what do you think?
I think probably for most women, that's a good goal.
Yeah.
I think for me, that would be a good goal. If I was hitting 90 grams of protein per day, I'd probably be pretty happy about that.
The thing we have to think about is protein is one of those numbers that we can get uber specific on, or we can go broad and it can still be effective. So it really depends on what somebody's starting with and what their goal is. If I had somebody coming in and they were consistently eating like 80 grams of protein, but they were like, I'm trying to build a lot of muscle tissue, I'm in the gym, I'm lifting heavy weights, and we found out that 80 to 90 grams of protein wasn't even, 1.2 grams per kilogram of their weight. Okay, then we might start to increase it a little bit, but it's a great starting point for somebody who is barely meeting their protein goals.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those goals that seems really reasonable, as opposed to a lot of times if you do some of that math, it's going to give someone a goal of 150 grams of protein in a day, and that feels pretty unreasonable if you haven't been tracking anything before or even paying attention to your protein goals. To get 150 grams a day, at least for me, I'd have to be doing some kind of protein powder, shake. I'd have to supplement.
I
wouldn't get there with food.
No, I had those days when I was eating almost my body weight in protein, because I was like a little gym rat and I was into it. And I will say that it definitely helped me build muscle tissue, but I was also just eating a lot. And so I also had a higher body fat percentage, because I'm like, if I also want to eat other food, that means I have to eat more calories total to also meet my protein goal. And I was relying on a lot of supplements, and it just felt like a job. Yeah. In fact, I had a woman come in today, she's training for a marathon, and she had put her calories into like MyFitnessPal, I don't know where she got hers from, and it told her to consume 144 grams of protein per day and 144 grams of carbs, which if you know anything about training for a marathon, that's a lot of protein. And she was also trying to, lose a little bit of weight, which normally... This is off topic, but I don't usually have people who are training for marathons.
You can't do marathons and lose weight at the same time.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. So I was like, well, here's the thing. I'm like, if you want to make sure you maintain, if not lose a little bit of weight, you don't want to be over consuming calories, but you can't cut your carbs because you're training for a marathon and you need that. You don't need 144 grams of protein. That was like about her body weight. Yeah. So all that to say, 90 grams is a great starting point for most people.
Yeah, I agree. And it puts you in that category where it's like, okay, this is a doable goal that I can get to, and I don't have to focus on supplements. And if it's a starting thing that you've never paid attention to protein, I think 90 grams is a pretty good space for you to be in. Now, if you're a 350-pound dude that's squatting 600 pounds, 90 grams of protein is not enough for you.
I don't know if this method, I didn't even look. Like, I genuinely don't know if she's targeting women.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm
That's
sure.
kind of like...
If it ends in a method, it sounds feminine to me.
Yeah.
Like the Tracy Anderson method.
The bar method.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's something about that.
Something feminine about methods.
Wait. I'm like, are there like scientific methods?
No, yeah.
Do women
the
scientific
scientific method. Also feminine.
This is a science podcast. So
I'm down with 90 grams of protein for myself and for a lot of my clients, I would say. Now, that doesn't mean like I wouldn't give you a more specific goal, but yeah, I'm okay with that.
Me too. I think this is supposed to be like a simplified method for people. That's kind of the point, because the dietitian in me, and I'm sure even the creator, probably has a little bit of like inner turmoil about this. Is I'm like, you can't just give somebody a blanket statement like say 90 grams. And I don't know, she probably has videos out there going in depth about protein and her explanation about it. And it's true, but at the same time, this goal isn't unreasonable. It isn't crazy.
You know what it reminds me of? 8 cups of water per day.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, there's not really any science behind this, but if you drink 8 cups of water per day, you're probably going to be better for it. So I'm totally cool with you doing 64 ounces and starting there. That's your starting point, and then we can change it as we determine what might be better for your body.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what it reminds me of.
You nailed it.
Okay.
Let's give people some context. Like, people know like what 1 cup looks like. What does 30 grams look like of protein?
Oh, a lot of chicken.
Like 4-ish ounces of chicken?
Like, is it 4 or 5? 4 or 5?
I believe 1 ounce has like 7 grams of protein,
Yeah,
so it's gonna be
someone
close.
has counted those. It's been
Long
a long
time. Yeah, I'd say it's between 4 and 5 ounces of, and it depends on the chicken too. Like, is it thigh? Is it fatty? Is it chicken breast?
Yeah.
You'd have to eat a lot of eggs.
Yes.
1 egg has 6
I
grams.
was gonna say like 6 or 7 grams in an egg.
So I think that's helpful because, like, you know, when women are eating breakfast, right, we want them to get enough protein. If they're like, I'm having 1 egg with my toast, you're like, oh, that's only 6 grams of protein. If the goal is roughly 90, you're not making a dent in that day. So let's add something else.
Like a Dave's bagel, or like half a Dave's bagel is 5 grams of protein. 1 slice of like an Ezekiel toast is usually 6 grams of protein in that. So yeah, if you're doing 1 slice of toast, 1 egg, that's usually around 14-ish.
Right. Well, depending on the rest of the day and how you want to eat.
Yeah.
So there might be somebody who has 3 square meals a day. They don't snack. They're not interested in a supplement. We'd want to take that up a bit. We'd want to say, well, let's add some more protein, because you might have trouble eating 40 grams of protein at other meals. Like, that's a lot of food. That might not be comfortable for you. But if, like, I know the way I like to eat, I like to have like 3 meals, 1 snack, maybe 2 snack if I had a lighter lunch, so I can have like smaller doses of protein throughout the day.
Yeah.
I will say I'm probably eating more than 90 grams most days, probably closer to like, I actually have no idea. Every day is going to be different. But it just kind of depends on the person and how you want to eat.
Yeah.
But I would say if somebody's eating breakfast and they're hungry within 2-3 hours, we could probably go back and add more protein.
Bump up that protein a little bit. I know, like, my typical breakfast is usually 1 egg with like an Ezekiel English muffin or like the Dave's bread or something like that. But the avocado is what keeps me full with that, like adding that avocado. And if I have a day where I'm super hungry, I will do 2 eggs. But yeah, so yeah, I'm probably only getting 15 grams at breakfast.
Do you snack?
Afternoon, maybe like an afternoon, like 4:30
What do you
snack,
have?
I would say. Perfect Bar.
Yeah, okay, so you get like, you're making up another like 10-12 grams right there.
Yeah, Perfect Bar, or those little protein balls, those Simply Fuel protein balls. So yeah, usually like 10 to 15.
So some kind of like peanut butter, honey, chocolate combo.
You know what I am obsessed with right
now?
There's this lactose-free yogurt from Faye.
Yeah.
Faye. And it's called like Best Self Yogurt.
Oh, you posted that?
Yeah, I think it's so funny. It's so good though, and
Why
it
is it
does make
better?
a big difference for my digestive system.
Okay, is it better tasting than like the 5%?
No, it tastes really good. It's just like a plain yogurt that I could eat with a spoon. I think the consistency is good. I think the flavor is good. But then I add Costco's organic almond butter, and then that jam, the Smash Jam.
We need to get sponsored by Smash Jam.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
if
good.
you haven't heard yet, this is gonna go into maybe your fiber goal. Does it have fiber? It has a little fiber.
Well, then I also add 7 Sundays their protein oats.
Oh, I didn't even know they
To
had
the whole
protein
thing.
oats.
It's new. It's a new thing.
Is
But
this a snack or a meal?
this is what I've been doing. I've been doing this for breakfast or lunch.
Okay.
And then I add a ton of fruit to it. I'm obsessed.
That sounds really good. See, that's the kind of breakfast that I like.
I definitely get 20 grams of protein from that.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Mhm.
And barely any added sugar? I don't think there's
So
any
the
added sugar.
oats have coconut sugar and a little bit of maple syrup
Okay.
in there, but it makes them
Just a touch.
delicious.
Yeah.
I think it's 8 grams total of added sugar.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's satisfying and it shuts your brain up.
So good. And
There you
then I think it's 2 grams of added sugar in that jam.
Okay, so we gotta talk about that jam. Does
Okay.
it even have added sugar? I'm not even sure.
It has a little bit, yeah. A little bit in it.
But it's like the only jelly jam that I have ever found that I would recommend to anybody, really. I mean, there was another one that somebody sent me once and I bought it. It had like I think it had a little raccoon on it. Can't remember the brand.
Raspberries, dates, chia seeds, lemon juice, fruit pectin, and rowan berry. So total sugars 4 grams, 0 grams added sugar.
Yeah, most
Badass.
jellies are gonna have a ton of added sugar. I found another one that had no added sugar. I can't remember the name, but it was really a runny consistency. Like you couldn't spread it. I was like, what is this? So this is called Smash Foods. It's got chia seeds in it. Like
That's
you just
why
said.
it's like so dense.
Yes. So like the chia like absorbs it, gels out, and you can spread it. And like my baby loves it. I will spread that on toast, and I will cut it with a pizza cutter because it's like really hard to cut toast into tiny pieces after you've spread stuff on it. And I feel good about giving it to him because normal jelly, I get a little like, this is like not
Sugar
gonna
gel.
do anything for you.
It's just sugar gel.
Yeah. So if you need like a
Yeah.
jelly hack, it's great. So not sponsored by Smash Foods, but if you know
We should
someone,
be.
we would love to be.
Have you had their bites? The little snack
No, I
bites?
saw their website,
I'll
though.
bring you some.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah,
I'll bring
Megan,
some.
I came in the office today and she brought me this giant container. How many ounces is this? 25 and a half ounces.
Costco.
And so I could do curls with this thing.
Yeah.
It's so heavy. And
I
I
got
was
the
like,
full box of those little treats too.
Are they
So
good?
I'll bring you some.
I was
Yeah.
like telling a client about this. I was like, you need this. It is $7 a jar if you go to the grocery store for, I don't know, 6 ounces. I mean, you barely get any. And you said that was like $7 for the whole.
Yeah, it wasn't expensive at all.
Okay, well there you go. Not sponsored by Costco either. We went off topic. We jumped.
Sorry,
we
what
jumped
are we
away- we were talking about your breakfast.
Talking about whether we're getting 90 grams of protein in a day. I question whether I probably get more like 80 to be totally honest. Maybe 90.
I would say it depends on the day for me.
Yeah.
You know, like some days I'm laser focused about it, and other days it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like for breakfast, some days I'm just like, I used to always be really hungry for breakfast, and I think that's because I was breastfeeding, and now I'm just noticing that I've been weaned for just over a month, and that change in appetite is very noticeable for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm noticing I'm not eating as much at breakfast as I was, and I'm getting full really fast, and I'm still trying to like navigate that a little bit. And so I'll do something just like a piece of toast for peanut butter in the morning, which before never would have kept me full.
Right.
Now I'm full for a couple hours, and then I'll have like a second mini breakfast later, and that just works for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's never been my pattern before. And that's when I'll have like a yogurt, or you know what I'm liking? The mush oatmeals that have the protein. They've got like 15 grams of protein in them.
Mm-hmm.
They have no added sugar, no whey protein. It's just pea protein, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Dates, oats.
Cool.
Tastes great.
Yeah.
Good for on the go. So there's our protein spiel. Thumbs up for the 90 grams of protein. What's the 30 grams?
30 grams of fiber.
Fiber's having a moment, thank God.
Yeah. Well, generally I tell people 25.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys are supposed to have 30 technically, but I
Yeah.
tell people 25 because it's already hard enough to hit 25
Oh my
in
God.
a day.
Well, especially if you're in a caloric deficit.
Yes.
I would say like a good over half of our clients have either a primary or secondary weight loss goal.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they're in a caloric deficit and they're trying to eat enough protein to maintain muscle tissue, you're not getting enough. I made a post about that on Instagram, how I'm worried about people on GLP-1s.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're like protein, and I'm shocked how not hungry some of these people are. and how they're just like not pooping.
Yeah, there's nothing in there to poop.
They're not feeling great. But I'm like, yeah, I can't get you to the RDI of fiber if we're also going to meet your minimum protein needs.
Yeah.
So internal dietitian, I guess it's a cost benefit analysis, right? Like if you're treating someone using a medication and they're treating the obesity, my priority is for them to get to their ultimate health goal. If that means they're not going to eat enough fiber, then I guess we'll have to like bend to that sometimes, but it doesn't mean we can't optimize their diet and get more fiber in.
Mm-hmm.
So the 90-30-50 is saying you need 30 grams. You tell people 25. I just show them the RDIs. So women it's 24. I think men it's 38.
Oh, 38.
It's
yeah,
high.
that does sound right. Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting to me because I'm like, yes, men are bigger than average, but like I'm bigger than a lot of dudes. Does that mean my fiber intake should be higher than like a 5'6" dude who's like, I mean, I'm 5'8", so I don't. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of interesting. I don't know if you know if there's any like sex differences between fiber recs.
I don't. I would assume it's just based on size, just like protein would be based on size. So
Men big, women small. Like that's.
This is off topic, but I think you'll find it interesting, so maybe our listeners will too. I have a client who has IBS, IBD, and then also she's had diverticulosis, like a couple big flare-ups that have landed her in doctor's offices, hospitals, like unable to really eat real food for a while. So pretty severe. And what we found with her is if we keep her fiber low, at least for right now, she doesn't have tummy issues. Mm. And so when her and I were kind of talking through this, I was like, okay, well, we have to think about, you know, your colon, your small intestine, all of that, just the same way we think about any other muscle. Like, it's a muscle. And generally, we eat fiber because we want that muscle to go to work. We want that muscle to be working. So if you tore your bicep, I wouldn't say like, okay, go do bicep curls. I'd be like, we need to rest this bicep as much as we possibly can. So for her, noticing like she's not having pain as long as she stays low fiber. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just think about this as a muscle that's healing. Your intestine isn't ready for that kind of movement.
That's such a great way to explain it. I never thought of it that way.
I didn't either until she was kind of like talking me through it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like it just needs rest.
Just needs rest.
It needs rest.
It's like inflamed.
So I'm like, in general, of course, like fiber, and she's like, well, what about like, you know, fiber for heart health, and what about, so she's kind of worried, like if I just stay low fiber forever. I'm like, well, first of all, I don't think it's going to be forever. Who knows how long it's going to take for you to heal. But second of all, like, the reason why fiber is good for heart health is because all of the foods that have fiber in them also have all this other good stuff in them. It's not just like eat a fiber 1 bar and that's good for your heart.
Right. It's, yeah, the fiber itself will bind to the cholesterol.
So I was telling her, I was like, well, we can find other ways to get you those good things that aren't necessarily high fiber foods. But in general, yeah, for a normal individual getting 30 grams of fiber, I think that's pretty tough.
Yes.
On a regular basis to get to 30 grams. Like, I'm not going to say impossible, but unless you're doing like one of those fiber wraps or something like that, which I don't recommend.
They're full of ingredients.
But my clients love them. They think they're just so good.
They're
and
not
I'm like,
good.
And I'm like, look at all the stuff that's in them.
They don't taste good. That's
they think they do.
No,
I've had oh, those are the best wraps.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Everyone shows me those wraps. The Mission Carb Balance.
Yes.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. And then, you know, here's the thing about wraps is there's like 2 brands out there that I actually think are like awesome. And it's Siete, which has fiber in it. It's just not 15 grams of fiber. Mm-hmm. And then just like a plain whole wheat tortilla that's homemade. Mm-hmm. Like otherwise all the brands are just like full stuff. But I mean, that's not a concern to everyone. I agree with you. I think 30 is really tough. People can use psyllium husk as a supplement.
Have you done that?
No, I've never.
It's not good.
I think it's
so hard to do. Like, you stick it in your water. Okay. So, story time.
Yeah.
So I put it in my water and I like shook it up. I'm trying to drink it. I don't even get my whole water down that day. And then the next day I just fill it with more water. I don't dump the whole thing out. I'm just like drinking out of that for the next full day. At the end of that day, I go to pour it out. It was a puck in the bottom, like a little gelatin puck, kind of like when you're making kombucha, like the mother kombucha at the bottom.
Yeah.
that's what it was like in the bottom of there. And I'm like, oh, this is why this makes people poop. Okay, that's what it does in the body. And if you read the directions, it's like drink immediately.
Just chug it.
Yeah, you have to. You can't let it sit.
Yeah, that's not for me because I can't even do the green drinks. You know, I will sometimes mix my creatine in water and just plug and chug. And creatine's odorless, tasteless, but it does change the consistency of the water a little bit, and I find it disgusting. It's like pouring tasteless chalk into water.
Yep.
Couldn't do that. I'm trying to wonder if there's any like psyllium husk like gummies or something.
I'm sure there are. They're capsules. I usually I'll recommend the capsules, but it's like 4 capsules in a day. The way that it works is if you're doing smoothies. If you're doing smoothies, you put it in a smoothie, you have no idea that it's in there because you've already blended up a bunch of fruit and it's fibery anyways.
Yeah, and I'm already adding so much stuff to my smoothie. If I'm doing a smoothie, I'm getting fiber.
Sure.
Because I'm adding ground flaxseed and chia seed, and I'm adding fruits, and I'm adding greens. Like, I'm doing something that's going to get me fiber. I guess it's like insurance for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I recommend psyllium husk is if somebody asks me if they should take it, I'm like, sure.
Yeah, this is not to say it's not great. It is great for you. There are plenty of studies behind it. Like, it is a good way to get in your fiber. We're just wussies and don't really like it that much.
I don't feel like fiber is an issue for me.
Yeah.
Will I hit 30 grams or 24 grams every single day? No. It's a recommendation, and I'm happy if I scored 80% on that. Yeah. There are times where I eat a meal that has no fiber, and if I have one meal a day that doesn't have a lot of fiber, then I'm not meeting 24 grams.
I bet you don't have any meals that don't have fiber in them.
Well, I'm thinking like if I order a cheese pizza and we're eating that, then yeah.
It's like a random time like that.
Like a random time. Gotcha. But if it's just like dinner by myself or with the family, like it's gonna have fiber in it.
Yeah.
And still probably can't get 24 grams every single day or 30 grams. And I'm not in a weight loss mode, but if I was in weight loss mode, it'd be really hard.
Yeah.
But I was making notes for this episode and I was looking and I was like, well, if somebody was following this method, I think they'd really want to be strategic and they'd really have to optimize everything that they're eating. So some foods that have protein also have fiber. And as we'll talk about next, the 50 from the method, 90-30-50, is fat. Mm-hmm. So some fats also have fiber. And then there are some foods that have all 3, that have fiber, fat, and protein. Mm-hmm. So you can really overlap these things, but you have to be very, very mindful, which is good. It's going to help you optimize your diet. But if you are in a caloric deficit and you're looking at how many total units of energy you're consuming, you will have to be mindful.
One of the foods I was thinking about when you were saying there's some foods that have all, I was thinking about like the thing of mixed nuts.
Yes.
But then like you're gonna hit that 50 grams. Pretty heavy if you're doing avocado and then you're doing some nuts and seeds. If you had like salmon for dinner, then you're probably gonna go over that 50 grams.
Yeah, you'll feel full. I don't know about nuts though. You know what? I mean, I talk to people about nuts and nut butter. I'm like, yeah, you know, like they've got fats, they keep people. But I'm like, then how come I can sit there and eat like a cup of nuts, and it takes me a while to feel full? Do you feel that way?
No.
Do you fill you up fast?
No. If I'm ever like snacky and I want something like crunchy and salty, if I pick up the nuts instead, like I do get pretty satisfied.
Well, I feel mentally satisfied. That's for sure. Like I don't have to keep eating it,
like physically.
Yeah, but I don't. If I sat there and just ate through a cup of nuts, like I don't think I would feel as full as if I had like an apple and a handful of nuts, like a small handful.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm definitely down with that.
So anyway, I think if someone's following this, then yeah, they'd have to be strategic. So like a really optimized meal would be, maybe you have an egg. So you're getting some protein, you're getting some fat, and then you serve it over like black beans, and then you get some like high fiber bread, maybe even like a high fiber chip, like a chip made out of quinoa or something, and vegetables, and you like dipped vegetables or high fiber bread into the bean egg mix.
Delicious to me. Add some salsa on top of there.
Yeah, this would be like a high fiber shakshuka. Isn't that like your favorite breakfast?
No, shakshuka is the tomato.
Yeah, but this is like one with beans. So it's high fiber.
Shakshuka is just like straight up like marinara tomato sauce and then eggs in it.
I love the idea of it. I couldn't order it as an entree.
Other people say the same thing to me. They're like, I just can't get behind that, but
I could as an appetizer.
I can eat marinara with a spoon, so that's why it's my jam.
Okay, there you go. Well, I mean, like if somebody, like if we were at brunch, like us, and you were like, let's get this for the table, I would have like
Don't
enough of it.
touch my extraction cup. We're not getting it for the team.
Is that how you feel about?
Well, it's not something that like I want everybody dipping their toast into my eggs. Like no, like typically I'm a good sharer, but I don't think that that's no. I want to like get in there and get messy with it, and I want like the yolk. I want it for myself.
Oh, okay. Because I don't have like any germ issues, and I feel like you don't either.
No, I don't.
So is it more like you don't care about other people's? It's just like you want your mess.
I want the right bites.
Oh, and somebody can take your bite.
You're gonna screw up my bites.
I feel about nachos.
And like my bite to, you know, if anybody wants to order nachos, I would say like 10 years ago, I would say nachos are so stupid. But now I'm into it. I don't know why. I think I started making my own and like making the good ratios. Whereas like when you order them somewhere, it's like, okay,
sloppy.
Half of them are already soggy and have too much stuff on them, and then there's a bunch on top that are just crunchy with nothing on them.
Well, that's because when they serve it at a restaurant, they don't put it on like a nice sheet pan.
Right, exactly.
If you're gonna do, I make nachos all the time at my house.
Okay, nachos at home I'm down with.
High fiber, high protein. You can really, yes, and it's sheet pan. When you go out to eat, they just slop it on.
Yes.
Like queso, chili, and it's just like this like mountain melt of just goo.
Yeah.
And then you're just like licking your fingers, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, no, I'm not a chili person though. And if that's usually how I see nachos out. They're like chili or they're super saucy.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you're not hungry listening to this episode because we're talking crazy here. Let's jump into the fats piece. I mean, we already spoiled it. It's 50 grams of fat per day. Feels appropriate to me.
I never really have people count grams of fat.
No.
I feel like it's just kind of like my leftover thing.
Yep.
So like if you're hitting your protein and you're staying under the amount of carbs I want you to stay under, like your fat's just gonna end up where it needs to be because it's just math.
Yeah.
So I would rather you not have to pay attention to all these different things. So I think she's taken a little hack version of this and turn it into get 30 grams of fiber, which means you're gonna have to be eating carbohydrates that are high in fiber to hit that.
I think she put it in there because people always say, well, what about fats? And then it's just kind of an easy way to be like, I'm here.
Well, it is also the only caloric restriction aspect of this too. It's like if you're keeping your fat under 50 grams in a day, because the other one is like get to 90 or more, get to 30 grams or more of fiber, and then this 50 grams puts a stop on that.
Well, yeah, so if you don't know, fats per gram have over twice as many calories as a carb or protein. It's not bad or good or anything. It just means if you're like my nuts example, if you just eat like a whole cup of nuts, you're going to have way more calories than a cup of sliced apple. Mm-hmm. So it's just you're right, a way to keep the...
Have you heard about that study that they added 200 calories a day from nuts and what happened?
Was it health benefits?
So it was, so they did two different groups. I think it was either 200 or 250 calories. I can't remember the exact amount. That part doesn't really matter. But they had a group of people add 250 calories from random foods to their diet in a day, whatever they wanted. Just add 250 calories. And then they did another group, add 250 calories of nuts in a day. And then they were like, what's happening with these people? The people who added 250 calories of nuts did not gain weight. And the people that had 250 calories of the other stuff did.
I wish they had done, I mean, I'm sure it was like a preliminary study, but like the 250 calories, like it could be anything. Like that's so hard to measure against.
It could be anything. But I mean, the point of it is that your body is utilizing the nutrients, the energy, the fiber, the fat from a real food versus if they're eating 250 calories of chips and your body's not actually utilizing any of that, just storing it.
So the almond moms.
So the reason why I go back to that study, I use it as an example when people are like, oh, I don't really eat nuts because I might overeat them. Like, maybe not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
But also remember what 250 calories of nuts looks like.
Yeah,
it's not a whole cup even.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what I feel like this is like when I was in my MyFitnessPal days in college. Like I know like a fourth of a cup of nuts has like 180 calories.
Yeah, I don't remember any of that.
Something like that. So it's like, okay, yeah, like you could have like a half a cup of nuts, let's just call it.
Mm-hmm.
I know, that's cool.
Yeah. So don't be scared of nuts.
I ain't scared of nuts. Especially when they're like salted and raw.
Okay, I'm not a fan of raw nuts at all.
Why? Even
cashews?
cashews?
I don't think they have any flavor. You gotta roast those buddies.
Well, what if they're salted? The salt brings up flavor.
No, I gotta roast them. If I get raw nuts, I will roast them myself.
How do you roast them?
bring out the flavor, and then I'll do like a little spray of, I'll put them in a bowl, do like spray of avocado oil, not like the spray avocado oil, I put it in a mister thing, and then I just like mix them up, put a little salt,
which is how you should do it
throw
then.
them in the,
because some of the nuts have like palm kernel oil and stuff like that, which is not, it's fine. It's, you know, if you're gonna like pick a snack, like if you're picking nuts with palm kernel over like the microwave popcorn, then you obviously pick the nuts. But if you can do it at home, even with like coconut oil or something, just like,
again, not sponsored by Costco, but their mixed nuts don't have anything added to them.
And they're probably way cheaper.
And the Kroger ones actually as well. They're mixed. They're like deluxe, fancy. They're called salted nuts.
They're called deluxe fancy.
Yeah, deluxe fancy, because it means that they have like the Brazil nut randomly in there, and then like the random macadamia nut thrown in there, and it's not just like peanuts and almonds.
My favorite thing to do is to eat a Brazil nut like a vitamin.
Yes,
it makes me feel
selenium for the day.
Yeah, and it's like a fun way, you know.
In case you didn't know, one Brazil nut a day meets your selenium needs. So
there can be a toxicity, I think, right, for selenium?
Yes.
Like you can overdo it. So I always wonder about those like mixed nuts. I don't know if it's true, but I wonder if like in one container they have to limit how many Brazil nuts go in there to like.
No.
Like I don't know how many you would have to eat to get toxicity.
Because it's not their responsibility if you're doing that, if you're eating those every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like couldn't they get sued if somebody was eating a whole container of deluxe fancy nuts every day for a snack? And they got like toxicity symptoms from selenium, which I can't even remember what those symptoms are, but I'm sure it's like neurological or something. What if?
I don't think you could, because if you ate enough carrots, your skin's gonna turn orange, but you can't sue the carrot company. That's your own fault, right?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of ways to make money here. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to get a toxicity so I can bankroll
a lawsuit for my Brazil nuts. No, because then they wouldn't even be able to sell a bag of Brazil nuts then. You can get Brazil nuts on your on their own.
Do they ever have like a
warning?
Yeah. I mean, seriously.
Good question. I don't know.
Because if one nut has all of your daily needs, I'm saying this and I have no idea what the toxicity level is. And I can't even remember why I was looking the toxicity level up. Oh, I know why. Because I had a client who was taking like 100 supplements and I had to go through them all and look to make sure that he wasn't getting too much, because we discovered together that B6, if people are doing too many of the water flavoring things that have B6, that can actually cause like nerve damage. And then if you're also taking supplements with B6,
recommended upper limit for selenium is 400 micrograms per day. One Brazil nut has around 68 to 91. Eating more than a few in a day can easily exceed this limit, potentially leading to selenium toxicity. Symptoms are garlic breath, nausea, diarrhea, hair loss, skin rashes, and in severe cases, difficulty breathing, tremors, kidney failure, and heart attacks. It's recommended to limit your intake of Brazil nuts to around 4 per day.
All right, you heard it here. Now I can't ever sue because I will have proof that I'm aware of the impact.
But then this other dietitian is saying that you can eat up to 7 per day. So it probably depends on the size of the nut.
And the person.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, we've gone off on when we start this podcast, usually we all have like an outline of what we're going to talk about. We're like, we know what to talk about 90, 30, 50, and I love it because it just took us in a fun direction.
Yeah. So overall, like, if you're following this, go for it.
To me, it's like 101 way to start paying attention to how and what you're eating in a healthy way.
Agreed.
Like it's a number goal that's fair. It's encouraging some people to eat more, which is important, and more of the good stuff. We're all about that. More of the good stuff versus restricting all the good stuff, obviously. Yeah, I just think it's simplified for a reason. And if you take this and you like it and you want to take it to the next level, meet with a dietitian. Tailor it even more. Fit your lifestyle.
I think focusing on these 3 numbers helps to prevent people from just using certain foods to hit a number, meaning just having protein powders and you get to 125 grams of protein in a day, or eating the protein Pop-Tarts to get there, because if you do that, you're not going to get to 30 grams of fiber. Yeah. So if you're getting 30 grams of fiber, you have to have fruits and vegetables, and you can't just have chicken and protein shake. So I think because of those 3 numbers and the way that she chose to do that, it does make you have to focus on whole foods.
Yes.
Like I think it would be almost impossible to get there unless you're doing a bunch of those like mission tortillas.
Well, or those, like you said, protein Pop-Tarts and things like that that are full of sugar alcohols that will make you bloat or poop your pants.
And a lot of them have added weird fibers.
Oh, like chicory root
in
fiber
them too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gums and stuff. I mean, which, like, some people have iron stomachs, some people do not, and you may feel really sick on that stuff.
Yeah.
We were almost going to do a podcast episode today, which we still should do which is like why protein isn't everything. I think like protein chips, protein cookies.
Should I save this for that episode? I have
No.
something to say. Okay. Khloe Kardashian came out with a protein popcorn.
Why?
And it's called Cloud with a K popcorn. And it's popcorn with like whey dust on it.
Does it taste good, like cheese?
I don't
whey
know.
dust?
I am not going to spend $8 on that to even try it because I do not need whey protein in my popcorn.
No, I hate this so much because I hear this from well-meaning clients sometimes, and depending on our rapport and what's happening, I'll correct them, and sometimes I'm like, we'll just save this for later. But they'll say something like, you know what, I chose the protein popcorn because I feel like it's just like a better choice, and I'm like, define better.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing that happens is like, somebody might buy that whey protein popcorn, and they're like, well, because it's protein popcorn, I could eat a whole bag by myself, and then they're not feeling great, over-consuming. Plus, it's like kind of Frankenfood. It's a food-like product, not food.
You just added some weird dust to my popcorn.
Well, have you ever put like cheddar dust on your popcorn?
Yeah, that's true.
But that, in my brain, I'm like, it's calcium dust. Like, I don't even, it's artificially dyed with yellow, whatever's in it.
Yeah,
Or I put nutritional yeast on my popcorn.
Just not necessary at all.
I just think it sounds gross because adding whey protein to everything or anything to me tastes different. Like, if you add whey protein into anything, there is a consistency difference. I can, like, feel the specks on my tongue.
I'm not a protein powder girl. I mean, for probably 4 years, I've not been able to really
Not even in a
consume
smoothie?
any protein powder. I made a smoothie this week for the first time in probably 2 years for
Really?
myself. I make smoothies for Liam all the time.
I was
but
going to say, I feel like you're always...
No, and then I regretted it. I was like, this is because I want to eat food.
Oh, got it.
I just want to eat food.
See, now that it's getting hot, I love a smoothie.
Yeah,
I love a
into it.
cherry smoothie.
Okay,
Super into it.
sounds good, but yeah, I'd rather have the cherries.
Yeah, just munch on
Just
cherries.
the frozen cherries
You
mixed
know what
in my
it is?
yogurt.
Because I have an infant right now who wants to be held all the time.
Okay.
Like, if I were to, like, pull out the bag of cherries and snack on it, I would be, like, in and out just munching, which is fine. But, like, when I get... So here's our thing is, like, I'll go to the gym, come back, I'll relieve my husband of his stuff, and then I take the baby, and, like, he's in the bathroom while I'm showering. So,
Smoothie's perfect
smoothie.
in that scenario. Yeah, agree.
all right, well, this is our analysis of the 90-30-50. Follow us on Instagram, nutrition.awareness. We have our own books where we share our own nutrition philosophies, and I think it's trying on different things for everybody and finding an approach that works for you. And we are going to support our dietitian sisters. This girl seems legitimate. I love her approach. It's reasonable. It's a great place to start.
Let us know if you've tried it.
Oh, yeah.
What your experience has been.
Yeah. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Cool. That was fun.
I got parent-teacher conference at 4:30.
How fun is... Wait, that's so funny. We were watching a TV show where they had a parent-teacher conference, and Brett was like, are we going to have to do that? And I was like...
Yep, sure are.
Are you nervous?
They were really serious about it. I had one last year, and I was like, my kid's 3, what are they going to possibly talk about? They went through, like, all of his, like, development. There were, like, 80 different points that they went through, like, like, listening skills, vocabulary, like, all the things. And he, like, got some that were, like, awesome, and then some he was, like, average, and some he was below. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I wanted to know that.
Yeah, like, he's a 3-year-old,
Yeah.
like, they're all all different.
Mm-hmm. But it was good because then I was like, okay, all right, what he's not good at, this is what I can like focus on direct to.
Yeah, like at home.
Like, okay, got it.
Like what kind of like language?
I don't even remember now. But I will let you know after
that
today's.
So anxious. Like milestone.
How he's doing.
I'm gonna put this little guy. Actually, just keep it like that. Yeah. So Heath is scheduled to start a part-time daycare in August, and I'm thinking.
You're dying.
Well, the thing is, he's gonna. It's a Montessori school.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't do things by age. So they're like, if he's walking well, he goes to the toddler room. And I'm like, great. I thought he would just go straight to the toddler room because he'll be walking by then.
Yeah.
He's already this close. But they called me and they're like, we have a spot open for him in the infant room. And I'm like, I don't want him to be the oldest infant. Like, what's the point? I don't have a sense of urgency for him to go.
Yeah.
He's not going to be, I don't know, like,